Hello everyone, welcome back to Canada Dreams. This video is very important, so make sure you watch this video till end. This video is about work reference letter for Canada immigration. So if you do not provide this document in a proper format, then your application for permanent residency might get rejected. So some employers don't want to provide a proper work reference letter for immigration. So in that case, what should you do? What are the alternate documents that you can use? So whether you are applying from abroad through express entry, PNP or any other stream, or if you are in Canada and applying through Canadian Experience Class, PNP or TR to PR pathway or any immigration program where you have claimed your work experience or it is one of the eligibility criteria. So at the end of the video, I have also provided a sample work reference letter. So the contents of this video will be importance of employment reference letter, who needs it, what information should you include in a work reference letter, what to do if your employer doesn't provide a work reference letter or provides with missing information, what supporting documents that you can use, and sample work reference letter. So let's start our video. So let's start with the importance of work reference letter. So work reference letter are very important in the context of permanent residency application because they are needed to prove that the applicant meets the requirement of one of the economic stream for permanent residency and you have been awarded certain points in CRS point system for your prior work experience if you are applying for express entry. Or it can be one of the eligibility requirement. For example, if you are applying for TR to PR pathway in essential non-healthcare category, then you must have 1 year of work experience in the given NOC. In order to prove that, you must have your work reference letter with certain information. An employment reference letter is an official document from a company that confirms that you have such and such work experience for this position for this many years with this salary. And if your work reference letter meets the criteria, then only you may be getting your permanent residency. And if it doesn't meet the criteria or it is not verifiable, then you might be refused for your permanent residency application. So this is the reason that it is very important document, and I have heard that so many applications are getting rejected just because of the missing information in your work reference letter. So now, who needs work reference letter? So let's say you have applied for express entry, whether it is FSTP, FSWP or Canadian Experience Class category or PNP or TR to PR pathway or any other economic stream for permanent residency, and you have claimed such amount of work experience in a certain field or it is one of the eligibility criteria of your stream, then you must have to prove your work experience. So in that case, you need to have your work reference letter. So the people who are applying in this category must have their work reference letter ready. Now the next question is, what are the information that you must have to include in your work reference letter? So your work reference letter must be printed on official letterhead and it must include your name, your company name and contact, including your location of work, your job title and job duties, your job status, whether it is part-time or full-time or you are currently employed or not, the period of your work, number of hours you work per week, salary and benefits, and name and signature of your supervisor or HR person. Now very important question is, what should you do when your employer doesn't provide work reference letter with all the required information or provides a work reference letter with missing information, which is called a deficient work reference letter? What are the alternatives that you can use? And here you have to note that the work reference letter is same for express entry or PNPs or all the economic streams that you are applying. And if you are applying for express entry or PNPs and you have claimed your work experience in certain NOC, then your job duties must match at least 70 to 75% of your main duties of the NOC. And I have already shown you that how to get the correct NOC and how to find out the job duties of the given NOC. So please watch this video to get all the details. So now that you know what information is required for work reference letter, so if your employer doesn't provide work reference letter with all the information or provides with missing information, you have to move your head around and try to find all the information and submit those information with your application. Because at the end, you are the one who has to make sure that your application is submitted with all the required information. And the missing information can be your salary or work hours or job title and job duties or anything. Or he doesn't want to print out the work reference letter on the letterhead. Now, if you are currently working in the company, then you might not have any work reference letter, but assuming that if you have left the company, then you might have any kind of work experience letter, including your job title and period of work. So what are the alternatives that you can use? Number one, you have to try to get it from your supervisor or any manager in your hierarchy. And if you get that, then it's the best option. And if not, then try to get it from a co-worker who is already working in the same company. And if you cannot get it on a letterhead, then try to get it on a blank paper and attach his ID and provide any kind of confirmation that he is still working at the same company. If you are trying to get the letter through email, then it must be from the official email ID so that it's a confirmation that the coworker is still working at the same company. And option number 3 is if your coworker or supervisor is not working in the same company anymore, then try to convince them to write a letter by witnessing that you have performed these job duties under this job role for this period of time, and affidavit that letter by them. And if you cannot get one of these 3 options, then the final option is to create letter of explanation. And in that letter of explanation, you can include why you cannot get the letter, what are the steps that you have taken to receive the letter, include your job title, your job responsibilities, your company information, hours of work, salary and benefits, include your supervisor name and designation, and all the required information. And you can affidavit that later if you want to, and if you don't want to affidavit that later, that's fine, because at the end it's your letter of explanation in your application. Because when you are submitting the application, you are signing that you are submitting all the information that is true and based off your knowledge. And the important step is to provide one of these 4 documents, and after you provide one of these 4 documents, you need to attach some supporting documentation. And the supporting documentation can be your job offer letter, your employer agreement letter, or employment contract, or if you have got job reference letter for your car loan or your home loan or to open a bank account, you can attach that letter as proof that you work for that company. You can also attach some pay stubs, final couple of pay stubs and first couple of pay stubs for each position you held in the company. You can also attach your bank statements saying that the company is paying you regularly for the work you do for that company if you don't have pay stubs. You can also attach checks if the company is giving you checks. If you are in Canada, then you can attach your T4 slips or last year tax slips or record of employment. Or if you are in abroad, then you can also provide some sort of referencing document that proves that you work for that company. And you can also attach any letter that confirms your position in the company, like performance review letter, job promotion letter, or you can also attach a relieving letter. So these are some supporting documents that you can attach to your application. And once you get all the supporting documents and the alternate documents and some mandatory documents, you can bundle those together and you can write letter of explanation, and also you can write index referencing all the documents in the particular PDF file. And that would be great. Remember, the goal is to provide all the required documentation to visa officer which are true and verifiable. If you do that, you should be good. I hope you get the point of the whole video. Now you have to use your brain and get the best out of it. Finally, I'll show you sample employment reference letter. So here, before starting the sample work reference letter, I'm gonna compare the requirement for express entry and for TR to PR pathway. So this is the requirement for express entry. It says that the letter must be printed on the company's letterhead and the company's contact information, supervisor's title, signature, and the name. Also, it should include your job title, job duties, responsibilities, job status, dates worked for the company, number of work hours, annual salary, and benefits. Now, if you see here, TR to PR pathway is pretty much same. The letter must be printed on the company's letterhead, and the location of work, specific period of your employment, main responsibilities, salary, benefits, number of hours you work, employer's name, signature, full address, telephone number, and email address. So the requirement is pretty much same. Now, if you see the sample reference letter and compare it against the requirement, here you will find the employee name and number, and also the company's detail will be covered by company's letterhead, like company's location of work, company's name, email ID, phone number, everything will be covered by the letterhead. Also, here the employee is working permanent full-time, start date and end date, salary, also the job title, and the knock code is optional. If company writes you the knock code, then it would be great. If doesn't, then it's fine, don't worry about it. Make sure that job title and the duties are matching with the NOC code main duties. Here 40 hours per week, so number of hours you work per week, and the job duties. And here also the HR manager or supervisor's name and the contact information and the signature. So this offer letter pretty much covers everything. You can follow the same format, and format can be different depending on the company's structure. So don't worry about the format. You can follow the same format if you want to. So that's it. I hope you get some useful information through this video. If you like the video, then please hit the like button and subscribe my channel so that I can get the motivation to bring some more useful contents in front of you. Thank you so much for watching the video, and stay tuned.